Right, Adam, whilst I've got you here,
Okay.
obviously you're aware Jasper has eloped off to the Alps, whilst we're karting here in the wet, it's cold and we're not happy. So what do you think his punishment should be?
His punishment? Oh. It's unacceptable, really.
It's unacceptable.
Having fun, skiing.
Yeah.
You could be out here.
Be out here. Yeah, but, in Chatham, at Buckmore Park.
Oh. I think you should buy us all the drinks on a night out.
That's all, yeah, okay.
I think Jasper's punishment for missing this round should be licking the exhaust pipe.
I reckon you were quite smart, Jas, to be fair.
Scott's ahead of
straight away.
Have some race boots shoved up his arse.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the BUKC from the perspective of the Swansea University Motorsport team. Now for those of you who have never seen any of these videos before, allow me to briefly explain who we are and what we're doing here. We are the Swansea University Motorsport team. We're one of the smaller teams running in the BUKC. We're not like to be challenging for any titles soon. And basically I decided last year to start putting videos together for each of our rounds and hopefully show off the charismatic and good-natured souls that we are. And so far I think I've been quite successful with that. Now if you didn't see the qualifiers video, I'll just briefly touch on how we got on there. We were able to get all three of our teams into the main championship, which is something we've never ever been able to do before. It's our first time running 3 teams and that was very pleasing. The reason we were able to do that was because we mixed up the teams, so in each team we had 2 experienced guys and 2 rookies. That has now changed, we're now reverted to type and effectively ranked the teams. So I would describe the A team as rather good, almost on Premier level, but not quite, because they spin too much. The B team are sort of lower midfield pace, and the C team, well, the C team they're effectively a rookie team, but don't let that put you off. I'm sure at some points during this season they will be able to show that they are there more than just to simply make up the numbers. And with that, that is effectively all I have to explain. Normally I have a lot to explain at the start of these videos, but that is basically it. But before we jump into the racing, I've got a question for Simon Withers. Simon, I've got one question for you.
Yes.
What are those? They're brand new carts. Brand new carts indeed, and taking them out for a spin in the first race for the Swansea C team is the mighty James Derrick, and in the A team we've got Ryan Edwards, who's starting down in P28, James in P11. Now Ryan was in a particularly good mood coming into the start of this race, because not only was he in a team that reflected his ability, he also got to meet up with his old friend from TKM, Suzanne, racing for Aston. Oh, friend! Oh, karting friend! Oh, that's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? Sorry Suzanne, I'm sure you're a lovely girl, but from now on you're just simply going to be referred to as Ryan's karting friend.
Oh, friends! Karting friends!
Be prepared for me to be saying that a little bit more often in this race. So yeah, as I said, Ryan is starting in P28. We're going to hope that he can make up as many places as possible for the A team, and James in P11. Let's hope that he can hold on to it. As we start the first race of the BUKC 2018 main championship, we're looking for Ryan Edwards in number 32 and James Derrick in number 61. I would like to tell you where they are at this precise moment in time, but as you can see, the entire field are wearing white and black helmets, and that is the colour of the helmets of James and Ryan. But we see through the first hairpin, it looks like everyone's got through a couple of wide runners, and it looks like that was the number 61 of James Derrick, and that very maybe was the 32 of Ryan Edwards. So it looks like they've got through the first lap for the moment. I'm just going to leave the audio in here just because it's the first round, and well, that's almost as good as the smell of petrol. That you can see there that James Derrick and Ryan got through okay, but no, James Derrick has been punted in the rear, not for the first time in his life, and that is a big blow for the C team, because obviously in conditions such as these, the main thing is just not to spin, and you will climb up the grid and get a good position, so that is a big unfortunate event for James. We look now to find Ryan. I think that is just him in the white helmet and the alternative wetsuit to the body condom, as he runs a bit wide through the final left-hander before Cafe Curve. And unfortunately this was all the filming I was able to get of the first race. I was out in the next race and I had to go and get ready. What I can confirm to you is that Ryan Edwards, who started down in P28, was able to completely double his finishing position and finish up in P14 for the A team. A fantastic result. Really well done from Ryan. You'll see later on that Ryan will do even better. We see James Derrick here as well, just so he can get a bit of time in the sun. He was obviously had that spin, he's now down in last, but he's racing number 54, whose university name I do not know off the top of my head, but he's coming up through into the main straight, and Someone's got a black flag there and he's really on his tail. Can James Derrick muster a move into the first corner? He's held back, but looks like number 54 has run wide, and James Derrick soars through. Very good result, very good racing from him, and I confirm he finished in P35, which is just above last, so not the worst result for the C team, but not only just by one. So we head into the second race of the day. We head into the first bit of GoPro action. That is from me. I'm starting in P8 for the B team. Will Rattenbury is starting in P5 for the C team, and starting in P21 for the A team. It is, of course, the fashion statement of the Swansea University Motorsport team. It is Adam. If you're wondering why I'm referring to him as the fashion statement, I mean, does that image need explaining? Look at him. He's absolutely beautiful. What a man. What a legend. Adam Pugh. Starting in P8, my objective for the race was very simple. I was going to try and finish in the top 10 as we see those red lights turn green and we are racing. It looks like I've got a decent run and already take 2 positions. That was Will going backwards, and the first part of my start was actually really good. As you see there, I've got a very good line coming out of the second turn, and if I hadn't cocked up my braking, I could have been looking at getting into P4, maybe even into the podium positions, but no, I locked up my brakes and dropped massively. That guy went a lot worse for it. Also went worse for Adam and Will, who did end up spinning, but if you're going to have a spin at Buckmore, make sure you do it on the very first lap at the first hairpin, as we come now down through the traditionally fast left-hander, but obviously we're in the wet, so we've got to take it a bit slow, again through this now slow right-hander. The wet really ruins everything, doesn't it? And we come into what would normally be the very fast right-hander. You can see that things are getting a little bit hairy, and I've decided, you know what, I've had enough of this, I'm out. Not because I put my foot too hard on the brakes and ended up spinning, but no, I just wanted to catch up with my mates, see how they were doing. You alright, Adam, mate? How's it going? Yeah, not bad, mate, not bad. I'm off cycling in the Alps with my dad on the weekend. Oh, lovely stuff. Look forward to the photos. Yeah, absolutely no worries. Anyway, I've got to be off, mate. I've got a photo shoot up in London at 2 o'clock. Oh, don't worry, don't mind me. Don't let me hold you up. Go have a good one. No worries. Oh, Will, mate, pull up a pew. How you doing? How's life? Yeah, it was all right, mate. But I'll be honest, I think I have just shat myself. So, you know, I've got that to deal with now. Oh, I'm not entirely sure I wanted to hear that, truth be told. I think I'll be off then. Mate, if the roles reversed, I'd do exactly the same thing, so I won't hold a grudge. So after that little catch-up, I realised that I found myself at the very back of the field, and whenever you have a spin on any part of the race, the basic plan is just keep your head down and try and pick up as many places as you possibly can, which is basically what I did through other people spinning, or me just having a better line than some people who were at the back, like the University of Leeds, for example. I'm pretty sure I overtook you at least twice, possibly thrice. And as Will spun under a yellow flag, he was given a black flag, and that gave me the opportunity to catch up to and overtake him, and throw him a shaka for good measure, have one of them. And here's something that I don't think's ever been caught on film before. It's Swansea Met versus Swansea. Swansea Met are a Premier team and traditionally are quite far in front of us, but on this occasion, I believe that's one of the Harrys. He spun as well and eventually was able to overtake me. Unfortunately, I just wasn't able to quite keep on his pace, despite some very good braking into the very first corner. I just couldn't quite keep up. This was effectively the only bit of racing we had with them, but it was good to see Swansea Met again, and hopefully we can continue fighting for the rest of the year. As this guy comes steaming down the inside, we can see someone up front in a pink helmet, and I wonder who that could be. It is, of course, Ryan's karting friend. It is Suzanne from Aston, and this is for position. So coming on to the final lap, I've got an opportunity to make up some positions as we come into the second hairpin. I've run a bit wide, she's run wide, and someone's come down the inside. That's blocked her exit, and that gives me a very good opportunity coming down into the traditionally fast, but not so fast this time around, left-hander, and I've done her like an absolute kipper. And that was for position, as I said, and I was able to finish the race in P24. I know having started P8, 24th is not a very good result, but considering I was effectively last at the end of the first lap, that's quite a good recovery in my mind. Adam was able to finish up in P19, and Will continued the theme for the C team and finished in P36. So we move on into race 3, where there is only the B team being helmed by Ben Goodwin, who's starting in P18. And surprisingly enough for Ben, his initial start wasn't actually that exciting, but we come into the first hairpin and Ben rather easily gets mugged off into the first hairpin as we move into the very aptly named second hairpin, as he bends him over, taking him down the inside, and someone's now trying to mug him off down the inside as well. It looks like they have as he runs wide, but as we come into the traditionally fast but now slow left hand. It looks like Ben has had the last laugh as he's able to maintain that position, heading down into the traditionally fast and now slow right-hander. And Ben has been, once again, absolutely mugged off, made to look like a right melt coming into that corner. He runs wide into the next part and looks for an overtake into the right-hander. Sometimes overtakes do work there, but on this occasion, whilst there was a spinner, it looks like Ben has not made that move, but he has still picked up a few positions thanks to some spinners. Someone tries to come down his inside, but Ben is simply having none of that. We come now through the now getting faster but still quite slow comparatively left-hander, as Ben is very much in the thick of it with the red helmet of Southampton A, and also someone that looks like Ryan but isn't Ryan just in front of him, and Ben running a bit wide into the left-hander. That is hopefully setting up a move into the right-hander. Is something going to be pulled off here? Nearly, but it looks like the guy who looks like Ryan has got a better drive than himself. Ben again trying something into the right-hander. It looks almost a like-for-like move as this man in the grey and white comes back through on him, just like the man who looked like Ryan. We now head into the first corner. It looks like Ben has now got that move done on the man in grey. He's still stuck behind the Ryan look-alike as we head into the first hairpin. Man in grey has got back down the outside of him, and it looks like there's someone on the inside. They touch, and Ben has gone into a spin, and unfortunately for Ben, that is not the first time that's happened in his life. And much like his start, amazingly, not a lot happened in Ben's race. This is very surprising. For those of you that don't know, Ben is quite an aggressive driver, as we see there, another move down into the right hand. But yeah, Ben traditionally quite an aggressive driver, but on this occasion, not a lot happened. I mean, we had quite a few overtake attempts going into the right hander just at the bottom, and actually quite a nice bit of late braking there into the final hairpin. And as Ben gets overtaken once again into the first hairpin, that does actually draw a conclusion to Ben's race. Again, not a lot happened. He finished in P24, just like I did. We head into the fourth sprint race. Once again, there's only one Swansea team in this one. It is the B team again, this time being helmed by Jeremy Todd, who's a BUKC novice, and he's starting in P19. And given that this is Jeremy's first proper race in the BUKC main championship, you'd be hoping for some very nice and calm practice laps.
Don't worry about it.
So the main bit of good news there is that Jeremy is in fact okay. I wasn't worried about him or anything. It just means that now, because he's okay, I can take the piss out of it.
In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
And fair play to that guy as well, Alistair Mallard. He will be buying Jeremy a Snickers at the next round at Wilton. So Jeremy's first lap was rather uneventful. His second lap, on the other hand, was a lot more eventful for the fact that he got overtaken by almost the entire field going into the first corner, and it looks like going into the second part of the first corner, he's going to get mugged off even further. So as it begins to absolutely tip it down during Jeremy's race, when it comes to your first BUKC event, what you want to do, you just want to stay out of the action and try and pick up as good a result as you possibly can. And that is exactly what Jeremy managed to do. He got some good overtakes in here and there, but for the most part, it was a very uneventful race. You can see here, just not a lot going on. Just stick on the track and let people like that man in the high visibility jacket get himself into a bit of trouble, and also like 36 and 66 get themselves black flags. But Jeremy's race wasn't entirely without incident. You can see here he's having a nice old ding-dong with this man in what appears to be a white and blue helmet as we're on the main straight, and Jeremy gets a nice bit of drive there and drives straight past him. And that was the end of Jeremy's race, and he did a very good job, such a good job in fact that he was able to outperform his supposedly more experienced teammates and come in a very well respected 20th place. We're into race 5 now. We've got a right treat for you here. We're on board with two rookies in the form of James Wright starting in P32 for the C team and Scott Deacon starting in P29 for the B team. And we're riding on board with James on his opening lap coming into the second hairpin. For some reason he was in front of Scott going into the start of this race. I'm not sure how that happened. Rookies, I guess. But you can see here as James tried to outdrag the guys around him, Scott is now firmly behind him, and hopefully we're going to have some Swansea on Swansea action. But as we come into turn 2, you can quite clearly see here that James has dropped it, and normally when people drop it, I put Top Gear laughs or Holly and Phil laughs on it, but on this occasion, I just don't have enough time, and I want this video to be of a certain length, so I only really had one option. You got to love rookies, haven't you? But yeah, fair play to Scott and James. I know obviously I've taken the piss a little bit there, but in all honesty I really respect them for going out there and giving it the best they had. And I think it rather fitting in their first race around Buckmore in conditions such as these in the BUKC, they were able to finish virtually side by side. Although Scott, you and me both know this is not where this ended. It's even better on board with James. I mean, just look at that, spinning on the cooldown lap. Just welcome to the rookies in the BUKC. I can confirm that James finished in last place, and no surprise, Scott finished just in front of him in P35. Should also mention that Tom Hollenby was racing for team number 32, that is the Swansea A team, starting his very first race for the Swansea University team, and also his very first Club 100 race for about 4 years. This showed a little bit as he had a few spins, but ultimately was able to finish in a very respectable 23rd place. So coming into the final sprint race of the day, we've got Will Goodhue starting in P9 for the A team. We've also got Simon Withers starting for the C team in P26, who was meant to have some onboard action, but for some reason this is all we were able to film. No idea why, it just wasn't working. So as we start the final sprint race of the day, we're looking for Will to get a good result for the A team as they start to head through the traditionally fast but now slow right-hander, and I think you can just see him there. Yep, the number 32 of Will heading through the right-hander down the hill, and he's doing quite a good job from the start. And now as he comes through the left-hander just before Cafe, you can see that he's doing all right. Now I should explain that Will is a little bit camera shy, he's not a big fan of it, and when he told me this I had a few sort of decisions to make. Do I film him loads to annoy him, or do I keep to tradition and not film him loads and therefore keep him happy? And after carefully considering what I wanted for lunch, I realised that the race had finished 10 minutes ago and Will had finished in P23 after some spinning. And if you've got a problem with not being on camera, Will, get over yourself! Simon, on the other hand, broke with tradition for the C team and finished in P33, which is a very good result for him. I think it's his best result in the BUKC so far, if you take the qualifiers into consideration. That didn't help the C team's cause, however, as they still finished in stone dead last, overall in round 1. The B team weren't much better up in P46 and the A team were in P35. So it was time to catch a bit of lunch, catch up with some old friends, and get on board with the endurances. So remember earlier when I said we were going to see a bit more of Ryan and his talents? Well, have a look at this for a move around the outside of hairpin 1. You don't see a lot of move around the outside of a hairpin, but not only was that a fantastic move in general, for the race, I mean, it's pretty obvious there, we are leading. Swansea University are leading a race. How did it take us that long to find Ryan? He didn't even come for the test day. He found us just by looking. We found someone quite special here. Admittedly, he has now lost the lead to the Premier teams, but that is to be expected. Remember, this is only his first main BUKC race, and so the fact that by the time we came up to his pit stops, he was running in P4 in the race in general, leading the intermediates, was fantastic. Admittedly, in the pit stop, he did sort of ruin it. He thought the full fuel cans were somewhere else. They weren't, and he ended up stopping. We lost quite a bit of time, and that was a bit annoying. But that first stint was still fantastic. Tom then went out for the A team, and I just want to give a quick shout out as well to the C team. We didn't have GoPros on them this time, but they went out. They did the best they could. Once again, finishing down in 36th. Tom, just here, I'm just catching the end of Tom's spin. But ultimately, the A team still did a very good job, finishing in P14. And once again, I want to give a big shout out to Ryan, the new man in the Swansea A team. Absolutely fantastic. Look at that face. You're going to see that a lot more. Hopefully at Wilton, he will be in the highest grid spot and can hopefully try and win a race. So now in Endurance 2, we had the B and the C team. Jeremy and Scott were starting up in P21, as we see here, Jeremy getting underway. I should also say James, Derek and Will Rattenbury were starting in the C team a little bit. I think they were a bit further back, I'm not entirely sure, but you can see here Jeremy's had a very good start. There was a spinner, and he's also got some very good drive out of turn 2 as we head into hairpin 1, and there's yet more spinning. That almost a repeat of the practice. That was actually Jeremy. Fair play to him, got a hell of a start there, although it did sort of all go to a bit pot at the now fast left-hander, and as we come into the bottom hairpin, it looks like it's going a bit further wrong. Now we're coming into the first hairpin, and yep, he's been overtaken by a man in a very high-vis helmet. At least that's better than white and black, and Jeremy gives the signal to come in. Obviously, as I said earlier, we're hoping that Scott and James and people like that can disprove the theory about rookies, that they don't really know what they're doing. Also, should just give a little shout out to that seamless bit of editing as Jeremy and Scott switch over. So Scott getting on his way. Oh, we have a race in the pit lane here, but surely what's going on here? Oh no, don't. Oh, Oh. So obviously a couple of things there. Stalling it out of the pits, and he couldn't get the fuel cap on. Oh dearie me. But unlike in the previous race, I'm not going to take too much of the Michael out of Scott. What I'm going to do instead is show you these little clips. This is him coming through the traditionally fast part of the track right at the start. And this is him just towards the end. So with the exception of running a bit wide at the final left hand, you can see there the rate of improvement that we have seen in Scott as the rookie, and I saw it in pretty much every novice that we had at the track. They started off slow, but they got better, and that, as I've said before, that is all you can ask for from your rookie drivers. They're not going to win anything, but that's all we want to see. We just want to see them doing as best they can, and you can't ask more for that. So once again, we cut to some seamless editing. I should point out again, the C team, James and Will, they were actually running in front of the B team. The B team were down to last, and that's where we finished. You see here Jeremy getting a bit mugged off once again. There is a theme here, so people getting mugged off. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but that is just what happens. But yeah, coming back to the sort of the end results, we see a bit more of Jeremy racing. Ultimately, the C team were able to finish. Oh, here we go. We got the C team and the B team. We got karting friends again. Yeah, C team came in with a 33rd. So actually breaking with tradition this time. And the B team also breaking with tradition, finishing in last place. And here we go. Look at them. Oh look, all friends, all karting friends. Oh, lovely. And now we finally arrive at the final race of the day, Endurance 3, and you're probably wondering why there's about 10 minutes left on the time clock. Well, this was such a good race. I've included so much of it. But yeah, as we see here, Ben gets going. Ben's starting for the B team up in 16th, and Adam and Will are in the A team. Adam's starting down in 32nd as we come into the first hairpin. And it looks like Ben's taking a little bit too much curb, and he gets done round the outside. And we come into the second hairpin. Ben, with his traditional late braking, he's going to try and go around the outside of this Bandit. And it looks like he's going to get some great drive out of hairpin 2 and get past the Bandit as we come down into the fast right-hander. Now down the hill, and it is completely flat out now. We're in complete dry conditions, which is absolutely fantastic. As we head into the right-hander, looks like everything's going okay for the moment. We're going to head into the hairpin. Is Ben going to try anything outrageous? He almost makes contact, but does some very good avoiding work as we now come up the hill, heading through to Cafe Curve. Man in the orange helmet is trying to shape up man in the multicoloured helmet. It is nice to see a variant on helmets, and Ben switches to the inside and gets orange helmet down the inside. What a move there from the man from Wrexham as we come now into the first hairpin. Someone's running wide there, and Ben with a very late move, and it looks like, oh no, he's made a contact. Oh my god, Benjamin Goodwin, how many times do I tell you, stay out of trouble? Thank God for Ferrari man. And yeah, Adam was in this race as well. He's made a good start, so hopefully later on in the race we're going to see some Swansea on Swansea action. And get ready to get used to this man in the red. He has Ginetta on his back, and that's a good thing if he was an actual Ginetta racer, because Ben has just been able to overtake him into the second hairpin. We come back into the second hairpin, and Ben's been overtaken by one of the Tony Kart bots, because they're just all over the place. But hang on a second, Ben's closed back in on the Tony Kart bot. That is very interesting right there. Oh my god, there's nearly a crash. Oh my god, that was nearly horrendous, but what it's turned out to be is actually hilarious. It's just the sound of fear in his voice is just hilarious. Anyway, we come into Ben's final lap and get ready for the most entertaining part of any endurance race. It's Ben trying to make a pit stop. He burnt holes in his suit in his first one at Buckmore. He nearly killed people at Rye House and at GYG. What's going to happen at this one? Absolute chaos is what's going to happen. I mean, just what is it with Ben and pit stops, honestly? So when Ben came into the pits, we were running in 4th place. We now come out of the pits running in 13th. And it took me a little bit of time to get going as I got overtaken by a few guys. But after a little bit of time, got my groove back. This is my home track, basically. I know it very well. And I was able to make a nice little move on this guy coming out of the second hairpin. Although we had a little bit of trouble getting past this guy. I believe that word was ducking? ducking. I'm not entirely sure there. A bit of an odd one there, James, but, you know. Eventually, though, we do get past this jabroni coming out of the right-hander, and as we come into the first hairpin, someone absolutely dive bombs me, and then all of a sudden, look who it is. It's Karting Friend. Karting Friend has done me coming out of hairpin 1, and it looks like I'm not going to get that position back coming into hairpin 2 as she gets past me. I then get sent for an absolute picnic, and then Will sends me for another picnic. I've got all the picnics coming on here, and the A team, who started in 32nd, might I remind you, are now up past the B team, who started in 16th. Unbelievable from them. What a great stint Adam must have had, and what a great exit Will has had. As you can see here, Will and Karting Friend have opened the gap up on me. They are 20 kilos lighter than me, so that has got to be taken into account. But as we come into the bottom hairpin, we can see there a bandit has got in the way, and that has allowed me to close up on Will and on Karting Friend. As we come up past Cafe Curve, is there going to be any opportunity for an overtake coming into turn 1? It doesn't look like it, as Will just gets the edge on me. I should point out as well, this is Swansea versus Swansea. This is very exciting. I'm not sure we've had a proper Swansea on Swansea fight, not since the first round of last year, when it was me versus Ben, and we had to negotiate a back marker there, and now I'm still stuck behind Will as we come back out of the bottom hairpin, still stuck behind Will. That should actually, there was a bit of contact there between me and the person we were overtaking. As now we're heading into the right hand, it looks like Karting Friend has been knocked off, and that has allowed me to close massively up to Will. And I think if we weren't teammates, I would have tried something up the inside, but I don't want to take both teams out. That would be the end of the world. But Karting Friend is out of the equation as we're now back into into the bottom hairpin. Will once again stuck behind some back markers. It looks like that might be the guy from earlier who I couldn't get past, the ducking man. And now look at this, look at how much traffic we have got to try and negotiate. Will going for something audacious around the outside. I cut to the inside and nearly make a bit of contact there, but nearly get past him, as Will now has to get round the inside of the fast left-hander. Now I go round the outside of the fast right-hander, nearly trying to do a double overtake round that right-hander, but it doesn't quite work out. And we come into the most darkest part of the race, and there, look, Will has been knocked off once again. So in the two times that a big event has happened in this race, it's come in the darkest part of the track, and I haven't been able to see a thing, but now my job is to move as quickly as possible to try and build a gap to Will and keep the B team in front of the A team, as we're now into an extended yellow flag period. And it almost feels like we're on a test there of the qualifiers. Everyone's going unnecessarily slow, but we move past the instant, and now we head into what is traditionally a very fast left-hander. But you can see here, we almost all get sent for a trip to Bucharest, and that could have been an absolute disaster. Coming now down into the faster part, coming through the darkest section, as we head into the right-hander, I get a hell of a whack and nearly lose. I'm not entirely sure how I was able to hang on to it, but I'm pretty sure that was the man in the black that I've had trouble with this race, and that has allowed Will to get back past the A team, take their place, rightfully so, in front of the B team. And I've had enough of this. I'm hoping that the pit board is going to be out. I know it's going to be out because I've just seen it. I don't know if they actually saw me, but as we see here, some friendly banter between Ben and Adam, and yes, I did see it, and they saw me, and it's all gone well. That's one of the most exciting endurance events I've ever been involved in, and now Ben is been sent on his way as we head into the first corner. And back there is Janetta Man. Remember I mentioned him earlier? Well, here he is, he's back, and Janetta Man has taken the lead from Ben, and you see Adam there. Adam went on to have it. They had a very good pit stop, the A team. Adam and the A team would go on to claim a very well deserved 7th place. Absolutely fantastic from them. They're now in with a shout of the podium. You see here Ben just getting, for 4 laps in a row, he just got overtaken into the second hairpin. But as we come now into the bottom hairpin, he has got Janetta Man in his sights, but there was nothing to come of that. As we come into the second hairpin, Ben getting overtaken once again, but he was able to overtake Janetta Man. That, I'm guessing that is for position. There's a spinner there, and Janetta Man has got past Ben, coming into the right-hander. Ben, though, on the good fight back into the bottom hairpin, gets a little bit of oversteer, and now heading up the... But again, there we go, Janetta Man getting back past him. So much racing going on in this race, and as they negotiate back markers, Ben trying an alternative line to try and get a run on Janetta Man coming into the right-hander. It looks like he might be in with a shout of getting that move done. He switches to the inside, he gets a little bit of oversteer, nearly makes it work, but unfortunately for Ben, unable to, as Janetta Man comes across to block off Ben, and we're going to head up now through the left-hander up towards Cafe Curve. Ben very much on this guy's rear end, but it looks like Janetta Man has got a bit of a gap into the first corner. And now we're coming into hairpin 1. It looks like Janetta Man has got a bit too much of a gap here, but Ben goes for something audacious, and oh my god, that is one hell of a move. He came from so far back. Well done, Benjamin. And now, once again, back into the bottom hairpin, the easiest place to overtake, and Janetta Man has proved that right there by getting back past Ben. If this guy does turn out to be a Janetta Man, well done. You are racing Ben Goodwin, and currently only just winning, but it looks like as we come into hairpin, into turn 1, I'm getting the turns confused. I'm so excited. It looks like, yeah, Janetta Man still just about holding out, and Ben, is he going to try? Yes, of course he is. He tries for late braking into hairpin 1. Looks like he might have got something done, but Janetta Man is fighting around the outside. Is Ben going to slam the door on him? It looks like he has, and that was the end of the battle between Ben and the Janetta Man. No idea what uni you're from, and as Ben's leaning his head over for some reason, we finished the race, and what a race that was, and probably the best endurance race I've ever been involved in. I can confirm that after a slightly dodgy pit stop, we came in 11th and we ultimately finished in 13th. But the big question is, have the A team got on the podium for the intermediates?
Swansea A finishing in 13th position and 4th overall in the intermediate class. Nottingham A finishing in 12th place.
Better luck next time, lads. But yeah, so obviously the A team finished in 13th for that round. The B team did a much better job win that second race, finishing 13th. That got us up to 31st, along with that last place. And the C team, amazingly for the C team, they finished in 35th, not last. But in the overall championship standings, the A team are currently in 31st, the B team are 43rd, and the C team are, well, obviously in stone dead last. So that brings the conclusion to Buckmore Park. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed it. That final race was absolutely fantastic. Again, big shout out to the C team for doing the best job they possibly could, and hopefully we can see them move up the grid at Wilton. Speaking of Wilton, we're losing Ben and Tom, but we are gaining. We've got Jasper back where he can fulfil his punishment, and we've also got another rookie in the form of a guy called James Pritchard Wood, who I've never met before, but I've heard he's ginger, so we've got that to deal with. But yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz, and we will see you in the next one.
Karting fans.